overcoming an obstacle. At that point I felt 80% sure that I wanted to become, but something stopped me. I was worried about my mother's reaction, family and friends, if they knew I had become a Muslim. Soon after I expressed this concern to a Muslim who told me that on the Day of Judgment no one will be able to help you, not even your father, mother or friends. 1. So, if you believe that Islam is the true religion, you should embrace it and live his life to please the one who created him. In this way it was very clear to I think we're all in the same boat. Every soul will test death, and then we will be held accountable for our particular belief in God and for our actions. 2. A meaningful video. At this stage of my search for truth I was about to embrace Islam. I watched an Islamic video lecture on purpose of life. The main theme of this talk was that the purpose of life can be summarized in one word, i.e., Islam, submission to the will of God. An additional point was that, unlike other religions or beliefs, the term Islam is not associated with any person or particular place. God gave the religion its name in the following Quranic verse: "For God, religion is Islam." Quran 3:19. Whoever embraces Islam is called an independent Muslim race, sex or nationality. This is one of the reasons why Islam is a universal religion. Before my search for the truth, I had never considered Islam seriously as an option because of the constant retraction Muslims in the media. It was demonstrated in this video that although the Islam is characterized by high moral standards, not all Muslims maintain these standards. I learned that the same can be said of the fans of all religions. I finally understood that we cannot judge a religion only by the acts of his followers, as I had done, because all humans are fallible. Because of this, we should not judge Islam by the actions of its people, but for his revelation, the Holy Quran, and the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad, may the mercy and blessings of God be upon him. The last point I learned from this lecture concerned the importance of gratitude. God mentions in the Quran that we should be thankful for the fact that He created us. God brought you out of the womb of your mothers, devoid of understanding, has given you ears, sights, and hearts, so that you would thank Him. 16-78. God also mentioned gratitude along with belief and left of course He gains nothing by punishing His people, nor will He gain anything when to thank Him and believe in Him. God says in the Quran, "What interest will God have in punishing you, if you are thankful and believers?" Quran 4-147. The truth is revealed. As soon as the video ended, I experienced the truth being unveiled. I felt a huge weight of sin coming off my back. Beyond, I felt as if my soul were rising above the earth, refusing the improvised pleasures of this world in favor of the eternal joys of paradise. This experience, associated with the long process of reasoning, solved the puzzle of the purpose. It revealed Islam as the truth, replenishing my landscape with belief, purpose, direction, and action. Therefore, I entered through the Islam portal saying the declaration of faith required to become a Muslim. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa Allah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. I testify that there is no deity worthy of worship but God and that Muhammad is his messenger. I have been informed that this formal testimony confirms belief in all of God's prophets and messengers, along with all of his divine revelations in their original form, actualizing and completing their religion to the religion of the last of the prophets, Muhammad, and to the final revelation of God, the Quran. The following point became overwhelmingly clear to me. If Jesus had been the last prophet of God and the gospel the final revelation, I would have attested to that. As a result, I naturally chose to follow the final revelation of the Creator as exemplified by the seal of the prophets. Impressions of a New Muslim. During my quest to find the truth, the lesson that transcended all lessons was that all objects of worship beyond God is illusions. For anyone who sees this clearly, the only course it is possible to put one's own will and actions in total unison with those of God. Submitting to God's will allowed me to experience inner peace with the Creator, with others, and ultimately with myself. Consequently, I am very grateful that by the mercy of God I have been rescued from into the depths of ignorance and entered into the light of truth. Islam, the religion true of all times, places and peoples, it is a complete code of life that guides man to fulfill the purpose of his existence on earth and to prepare for the day when he will return to his Creator. To follow this path of devout way allows one to obtain the satisfaction and approach of God in amidst the endless delights of paradise, escaping the punishment of the hell. Another bonus is that our present life will be much happier when we make that choice. An illusory pleasure. Embracing Islam has given me more insight into nature illusory life of this life. For example, a basic goal of Islam is the liberation of the man. That is why a Muslim is called Abdullah, the slave or servant of Allah, i.e. God, because servitude to God means liberation from all other forms of servitude, and while modern man may find himself liberated, in fact, he is a slave to his desires. He is usually deluded by this worldly life. He is addicted to the hoarding of wealth, sex, violence, intoxicants, and so on. But above all, it is usually seduced by the capitalist system that tends to function by means of the invention of false needs, which man feels that they must be satisfied instantly. God says in the Quran, "You have not seen him who takes his desires as his own God?" Would you dare to advocate for him? Either you think most of them hear or understand, which they are like cattle, which are even more irrational. Quran 25, 43-44. We must not give up our zeal to enjoy pleasures of this passing life detracts from our opportunity to enjoy the blessing of the paradise. As God says in the Quran, men have been brightened with the love of lust related to women, children, the hoarding of gold and silver, the thoroughbred horses, cattle and seedbeds. Such is the enjoyment of earthly life, but blessedness is on God's side. Say, I could tell you anything better than this? For those who fear God there will be, beside their Lord, gardens, beneath which rivers flow, where they shall dwell eternally, together with pure companions, and they will obtain the pleasure of God. Quran 3:14-15. Therefore, the real competition in this life is not accumulation of wealth or the desire for fame, but compete with each other in the achievement of good deeds to please God, while at the same time we have our lawful portion of fun in this life. 3. The right way to God. There are many religious alternatives available to the man and it is up to him to choose the one he wants to follow. It's like a trader with many goods in front of you, being your choice with which to do business. Obviously you will choose the one you consider most profitable. However, the merchant is not safe and has no guarantee of prosperity. Your product may have a market and he gets great returns, but he can also lose all his money. On the contrary, the believer in the oneness of God who submits to his will, a Muslim, is completely sure that, without a doubt, if he follows the path of the guidance, the Quran and the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, there will be success and reward waiting at the end of your path. Fortunately, this success too it starts at the beginning of the path. Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, may Allah be pleased with him, narrated that the Messenger of God said, "If a person embraces Islam sincerely, God forgives all your past sins and then begins to settle the score. The reward of your good deeds will be greater in value than 10,700 times and the evil deed will be recorded as one, unless God forgive." Bukhari, Epilogue. Based on my search for truth, I concluded that the precise way we believe in God and the actions we perform determine our future condition for eternity. Our Creator is giving to all of us an equal chance, regardless of our circumstances, of obtaining His satisfaction in preparation for the Day of Judgment, as in the Quranic verses to follow. Obey God and the Messenger, that you may be compassionate. Emulate yourselves in obtaining the indulgence of your Lord and a paradise, whose breadth is equal to that of the heavens and the earth, prepared for the righteous. Quran 3-132-133. If we sincerely seek the truth of this life, which is the Islam, submission to the will of God, God will guide us there, God willing. It leads us to examine the life and sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, since he is the best model to be followed by humanity. In addition, God leads us to investigate and meditate on what He says in the Quran. The Quran is like a persistent, loud knocking on a door or screaming trying to wake up those who are fast asleep, because they are completely absorbed by this life on earth. The knocks and screams come one after another. Wake up. Look at your return. Think, reflect. God is there. There is planning, testing, provision, reckoning, reward, severe punishment, and eternal blessing. Clearly and unequivocally, the best way to live is to die in this world is like a virtuous Muslim. When you come to the conclusion that Islam is the truth, we should not delay becoming Muslims because we can die sooner and then it will be too late. 4. A few months after embracing Islam, I found 2 verses in the Quran that mirror what the American Muslim told me, in regarding how we should live and die. Abraham bequeathed this belief to his sons, and Jacob to his own, saying to them, "My children, God has bequeathed this religion to you. Hold fast to it, and do not die without being submissive to God." Quran 2-132. And, O believers, fear God, as He should be feared, and not die, if not as Muslims. Quran 3-102.